Hey there! Excuse how I look. I just got done recording the video that you're about to see. I just wanted to start things off with, I have decided, because of how long it is, I'm going to split it into 3 parts. So it's going to be 3 different videos. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we got started. Alright, what's up? Postal268 here, and this is going to be the first video in my advanced tips for Until You Fall. I made the beginner tips video a long time ago and sort of never made another one. I'm considering of going through and making videos for the various different weapons to give you tips on them specifically, but for today I'm only really going to be discussing my strategy for the actual combat with the enemies. So I'm going to be using one sword, just because this is my preferred. For me personally, these are just the weapons combo that I like the best. I'm just going to go ahead also make sure that all the bosses are there. And I guess we'll just go ahead and begin. I'm going to be doing this on Nightmare, and I have no script. I haven't really thought about what I'm going to say. But I'm just going to go through, and as I am thinking of my strategy, I'm going to try to talk about it out loud so that you can hear the things that I think about when facing multiple enemies and things like that. And hopefully, this will teach you a little something. So, a big thing I'm sure you've noticed is that depending on how far you go ahead, you will activate the enemies. So, if you... like here, it's not a big deal. A lot of these guys are very weak, but as you get into the later stages, sometimes you really don't want to fight all those enemies at the same time. So where you are on the map, you have to be conscious of how far you can go without triggering the next enemies. So if I just dash into this guy and take him out real quick, they are still not coming after me. But if I move just a little bit forward, about right here, now he is after me, but not him. Oh, well, now he is. Dang it. And another thing you've got to think about is placement. I'll show you when I get some more enemies here. But be mindful of where the enemies are in relation to you. Oh, heck yeah. What's this one? Ooh, a good tip, especially if you're using one weapon like I am right now, this is an amazing perk. Because each successive critical strike you get gives you an additional +1 health, and it stacks. So if you're only attacking them health-wise with one weapon, that is one of the best perks in the game to get, even if your combo isn't incredibly high. So again, attack this guy, but I'm not too far forward. Getting a little bit of lag. So I haven't aggroed these guys. They're weak, so I'm just going to dash into each one of these and knock them out. Oh, whoa. Still getting the hang of these new controllers. I keep accidentally turning when I'm trying to dash. Like, you can do that. Personally, I like to just move my whole body to look around and turn around. Still haven't got to a place I can show you about enemy placement just yet. Dash impact is not important for this particular build, so I'm just gonna go with additional health crystals. I like to stack up on those in the beginning, like as much as possible. Unless I have a build that specifically wants to use these two things, having a lot of health crystals is nice, because later on in the other stages of the game, you can sacrifice those health crystals for perks like extra empty slots and extra guard and health, which if you're watching advanced tips you probably know that, but you don't get as many opportunities to get additional health crystals later on. They seem to me, just from my experience, to be more common in the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and aggro all of the enemies so I can try to... Yep, here we go, multiple enemies here. And I'll just kill this little guy. Oh, I was, but the block didn't work, right? Here we go. So, I'm gonna... why is the dash not working? Come on. Controller? Okay. So I want to place myself here and keep the enemies keep the one I'm fighting in between me and the other guys. or he'll jump back like that, or they can attack through. It's a little bit more difficult when you have 3. Whoa. Whoops, hit the wrong button. I don't know why my controller's not working fantastic right now. I'll just go ahead and kill him. Was that enough to kill him? We'll find out. Usually you gotta have 4 combo with this weapon. Ah, yeah. Okay, so now that I have just 2, I'm going to stand here, and I keep rotating around the enemy to maintain that enemy being behind the one I'm fighting. It makes it more difficult for him to start combat with me until I'm done doing what I'm doing with the first guy.
Fantastic work.
I'm gonna have to figure out why the controllers are lagging so much. That would have killed me if I was in a actual difficult spot. Pristine. While at full health, this weapon. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Pristine because I'm not at full health a lot. I have thought of a strategy using Pristine and the low health crystal things, and then consuming all of my health crystals to try to get down to where I just have only 1, so that I could try to proc both of those effects at the same time, but that is a really hard strategy to pull off. I don't know if it actually even works because I've never had the RNG to get all of that. I'm just going to go ahead and eat one of those health crystals I lost anyways to get an extra empty slot. This is my main weapon, so I want to have as many perks on it as possible to do things like buff damage. If you're using 2 weapons evenly, not sure how much you would want to just focus on one, but for me personally, because I'm always using 1 sword, I focus on a bunch of good things here, and I focus on getting the super of my little side one up, because that's handy. So, for this spot here, there's probably another knight. I can't see. I'm not sure, but I'm going to just fight this one knight. As long as I don't go further than he is, I shouldn't aggro everybody behind him. Alright, yeah, the Lethal Elegance gave me enough to kill him with only a 3 combo instead of a 4. Now when you have a lot of enemies like this, most of the time you want to focus on taking out the little ones first, and then leave the big guy for last. Because the less enemies to fight, the better. Especially because he's got to do his whole little animation to start with. So that gives you plenty of time to go ahead and take out one. Now I'm going to circle around here. It's going to take him a minute to get to me. See, depending on your positioning, you can also kind of flip them out where they'll change direction a few times and keep going back and forth like that. But now it's just me and this guy. And since this is a big boy, I'm going to activate this super to eat down his guard. Because I'm going to have to break his guard a few times. After you've broke their guard and done your combo, you want to wait a second, because they can't take any damage until it's charged back up. So hitting them in that state is just pointless. Bloodthirsty. Dealing health damage. That would be really great if I cared about the super on this. I have everything unlocked, so I don't need money, so I guess I'll just take the health crystal, because I don't want any of the other things. Alright, I guess tips for these dudes specifically. It's really easy to get some free dash impact on them. So I'm going to dash into him real quick. And that's going to make him mad, and usually he knocks me back and I can dash into him again. The dash didn't work this time, or the knockback didn't work this time. So, real important in fighting any of these big enemies is to learn the patterns of their attacks. They'll always use the same patterns. Like, they might, I'm not sure if they get randomized on direction, or like, I mean the order that they do them in, but their attack patterns are always the same. And that way you can anticipate where you need to block next before it even shows you. He's the weakest, so I'm going to go for him first. I might be able to do this without aggroing. Oh, wow. So yeah, if I were having a real tough time with this, you can just slowly inch forward and aggro as little enemies as possible at a time. Try to keep an eye on the other ones. Okay, well I've aggroed everybody at this point, so I'm gonna use my super to get his guard down faster. I keep turning. That's driving me crazy. And see the position, the other guys haven't been able to really come and get me because this guy is so fat they can't get around him. And I'm using the walls of the cave to hold them back as well. That's why I didn't go out into the open there. Oh. Oh man, that reach on that is terrible. And even while they're dying, just do a little blocking that'll usually give you some extra super energy. There isn't a ton of strategy for the knights, besides learning their combos and just being able to block them. As long as you can block them, they're pretty easy enemies to take care of. Now, like I was talking about, being able to kill them in one combo. Normally, if I don't have Lethal Elegance, this particular weapon, I have to have a combo of 4 to be able to take the knights out in one combo set. That's the main strategy, is to just get your weapon to a point that a single combo run through will take out a whole knight. That way you're not having to burn through their guard repeatedly. And on top of that, if you can kill a knight in one combo string, you can kill those guys in 2. Oh yeah, and sometimes they'll push you back, and you get that free dash impact on them again. The knockbacks are your friend, because that allows you to just dash back into them again. There's another knight over there. Alright, so one less enemy to deal with. I'm going to focus on position here. And remember, the lower their guard gets, they're going to try to dip out. So if you make it harder for them to dip out with this positioning as well. See, like, those tiny bits where these dudes leave themselves open where you can hit them, I could never hit those in the beginning because they always would just go away too quickly. But once you've learned the attack patterns, you know when it's going to show up and generally what direction it's going to be in. And so you can already be prepping to slice that before it pops up. Okay, you know, I don't need a combo of 4, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a combo of 4. That's what I'm used to. With an ability like Enkindled, because that's what I'm using right now, but there's also Heartseeker. The lower the combo is actually a benefit, because you get to pop off that ability easier. Especially when fighting multiple enemies. Sometimes you don't have enough time to finish the combo before having to get out of the way of another enemy. So here's the first boss. Not a lot of strategy in the beginning. Again, like 99% of this is memorizing the attack patterns, knowing what he's going to do. He's going to dash at me, and then left, right, dodge. Now I can dash at him, get a little bit of guard impact on that. The extra combo is great for the bosses though, because usually when you're fighting the boss, actually, I don't think there's a single time where you're fighting that guy and there's another enemy in play at the same time. Wait a minute, did that give me no comp? Holy jump! I got no super upgrades that whole time, I just realized. That's weird. I've never seen that before. Oh, whoops. Almost didn't get that. This is kind of bad positioning, because this guy's going to come over and hit me before I'm done. Dang it. But if I can finish him off real quick, they're the weaker ones, so they're the ones I want to focus on first. Ah, come on. Something's going on with the controllers. I need to move around because this guy is getting in a bad spot for me. He's probably going to attack me before I finish this combo. Oh, just barely in time. Now with the sword play, a strategy I used to do was just swinging at them like crazy non-stop. But most of the time, they're going to infinitely block you. But throwing a few hits at them while they're attacking, they're open and they can take it. As long as you're open to block their attacks. So especially when you're dodging an attack, it's a good time to just slap them a little bit with the weapon. But try not to do a bunch of excess swinging. You're just going to wear yourself down, and you're not really going to get a whole bunch of extra damage in there. So just learn the spots that they're open to take a few hits, and don't get too greedy with it. Just slap them around a little bit when they're open. Alright. And I'm trying to use my supers as little as possible, so that you can really see their need to get back for that. Oh! Like I said, he's very easy in the first section. Every time I break his combo, that's an entire health bar down right now. And a little bit extra. Need to back up. You dash further forwards than backwards, which is why most of the time I full turn around to dash, because sometimes if you dash backwards, it's not far enough, and then you'll have to use 2 dashes.
Well done.
Alright, so first boss is out of the way. That's pretty easy. I've never seen a super upgrade offered at the boss fight. Usually they're offered beforehand, so at least I got one. So before the first boss, you have the opportunity to get 2 super upgrades. In the middle section, before the second boss, you get the opportunity for 2 super upgrades. And then at the last, you get the opportunity for 2. I have never seen more than 2 ever pop up. So if you have gotten to this point, and you only have 1 super upgrade that was offered to you, I wasn't paying attention. Maybe it was offered when I got Lethal Elegance. But that is something with no matter what build and what weapons. If the supers are important to you, you have very limited opportunities to get the super upgrades. So definitely keep that in mind before making your decision. Alright, that's the part 1. I'm going to split this up to where part 1 is up to the first boss, part 2 is up to the second boss, and part 3 is up to the final boss. So if you've made it this far, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button, and tune in for the next one. It's been Postal268, and thank you very much.